It all started with a scream that could have woken the dead. Linda Caldwell, our HOA president, let out a yelp so piercing it sent a flock of sparrows scattering. Her rickety aluminum ladder crashed into my azaleas, sparks dancing off her navy blazer like firecrackers on a summer night. Freeze that moment. Linda sprawled in the grass, glaring at my fence as if it had personally insulted her. That's right, my fence zapped her. She thought she caught me with some shady backyard setup, but what she got was a very legal, very electrified lesson in minding her own business. Before you start picking sides, hear me out. I warned her. She just didn't know the squirrels weren't the only ones I was keeping out. Let's back up. I'm Jake Turner, an electrical engineer who lives for precision think circuit boards and building codes. Last spring, I built my dream, a 6-foot, HOA-approved cedar fence around my backyard. I saved for years, studied every bylaw, got the permits, and hired the best crew. It was perfect, my private oasis in what I thought was a quiet suburban neighborhood. I pictured barbecues, morning coffee, maybe a hammock prying eyes. But then came Linda Caldwell, the HOA's queen bee, a woman who prowled our streets like a hawk hunting for rule breakers. Picture a linebacker in a blazer, her blonde bob sprayed into a helmet, her lipstick a fierce coral slash. Her eyes? Sharp enough to spot a misplaced garden gnome from a mile away. She drove a gleaming SUV that hogged 2 spaces and treated the neighborhood like her personal kingdom. My run-ins with Linda were small at first. A snarky note about my mailbox being too rustic. A lecture because my lawn was a smidge too long before the mowers came. Annoying, but I could handle it. Then came the fence. A week after it went up, I was sipping coffee on my patio, savoring the peace, when I saw it. A glint of metal over the fence. Then a wobble. And there, rising like a nosy periscope, was Linda's bob. She'd propped an aluminum ladder on the community path next to my yard and was peering right into my sanctuary. I nearly spat out my coffee. "Linda, what the hell are you doing?" I shouted, storming outside, my voice shaking with rage. She didn't even flinch. "Morning, Jake," she chirped, cool as ice. "Just checking compliance. Section 5, Paragraph 2 Backyard Aesthetics. Gotta keep the neighborhood pristine." I was floored. There's no rule saying you can climb a ladder to spy on me. That path is for walking, not your personal watchtower. Her smile was pure condescension. "The board has discretion to monitor standards. Your fence might hide violation sunken bushes, tacky decor. I'm protecting property values." She adjusted her binoculars, and I swear she smirked. I stood there, speechless, as she scribbled in a notebook. This wasn't just nosy, it was war. That ladder became a fixture. Every few days, there she was perched like a vulture in a bad suit, jotting notes or just staring. My wife, Emily, started closing the blinds even on sunny days. I couldn't grill a burger without feeling like I was on a reality show. I tried talking to the HOA board, but they were spineless, whispering that Linda was unstoppable. One guy, Tom, practically trembled as he said, "She's like a bulldozer. Just keep your head down." Keep my head down? She was 10 feet up, eyeballing my pancakes. Then the notes started and signed, but unmistakably Linda. Overgrown shrubs detected. Patio chairs too cluttered. Inflatable pool remove after use. That pool was up for 3 hours for my nephew's birthday. She was turning my haven into a prison. I documented everything. Photos of her on the ladder, copies of her notes, every bylaw she twisted. I scoured county laws, looking for a way to fight back. Linda had the board wrapped around her finger, and neighbors were too scared to help. One guy, Old Man Carter, said she'd once tried to fine him for unapproved marigolds. "You don't reason with her, Jake," he rasped. "You just serve VYV." But I wasn't built to surrender. As an engineer, I solved problems. And Linda? She was a problem. Enter my grandpa, Pops Riley, an 80-year-old retired Navy electrician with a twinkle in his eye and a knack for mischief. He showed up one morning just as Linda was cataloging my tomato plants from her ladder. Pops watched her for 10 minutes, stroking his chin like a detective. "Well, damn," he said, grinning. "She's got dedication. Reminds me of a drill sergeant sniffing out smuggled candy." He noted her routine. Same ladder, same spot, same smug grip on the rungs. She's cocky, he said. Thinks she's untouchable. Big mistake. That night, over lemonade on my patio, Pops laid it out. Reason won't stop her. The board's useless. Lawsuits are slow. A taller fence? She'd rent a crane. But what if that ladder got uncomfortable? My ears perked up. Uncomfortable how, Pops? He leaned in, eyes gleaming. Electrically uncomfortable. A little zap. Nothing deadly, just a nudge to rethink her hobbies. My engineering brain kicked into gear. This wasn't about hurting her. It was about teaching her boundaries with science. Aluminum ladders conduct electricity beautifully, and Pops knew just the tool. A low-power livestock fence charger. Safe, legal, and oh so effective. We spent hours planning. The charger would deliver a sharp, high-voltage pulse-slow amps. No real harm. Just a jolt like a static shock on steroids. The trick was making it precise. Linda's ladder always leaned against my fence, sometimes touching the posts. We'd run a thin wire along the top rail, hidden on my side, and connect it to the charger. If her ladder hit that wire while she was grounded, say, standing on damp grass to get a surprise. We checked the law. The wire was on my property, and her ladder crossing into my airspace was technically trespassing. To cover ourselves, we'd add tiny warning signs after the first zap for deniability. We planted the seed during one of Linda's strolls. I loudly told Emily, "Those new roses we're planting need protection. I'm putting up a squirrel zapper on the fence, gives critters a little shock." Linda's ears twitched, but she just glared and kept walking. Perfect. She'd been warned, sort of. The next day, Pops and I got to work, disguised as yard maintenance. We buried the charger's lead wire under mulch, ran it up a fence post, and strung a hair-thin steel wire along the top rail, in VY Cybele, unless you were looking for it. We even overwatered the grass where our ladder sat, ensuring a nice, conductive ground. Testing was a thrill. Pops, in rubber gloves, touched a metal pole to the wire, and the voltmeter lit up. "She's gonna jump," he cackled. The morning of truth came fast. Emily whispered from the window, "She's here with the ladder." My heart raced. Pops grabbed his old binoculars, playing mission control from the kitchen. Linda dragged her ladder into place, the metal feet sinking into our pre-soaked grass. Clank, clank. She extended it, leaned it against the fence, and started climbing, huffing as she reached her spying height. She pulled out her notebook, one hand on the ladder's rail. The charger pulsed every second. One pulse, nothing. My stomach dropped. Did we mess up? Another pulse, and then, YEOW. Linda's scream was a mix of shock and fury, like she'd grabbed a live wire. Her notebook flew, her hand jerked back, and she wobbled, scrambling down the ladder like a cartoon VY lane. Pop stifled a laugh. Emily's eyes sparkled. I fought to look concerned. Linda stood there, panting, staring at her ladder like it had betrayed her. She tapped its sap. Another yelp. I strolled out, coffee in hand. "Linda, you okay?" Sounded like a cat got stepped on. She spun, face redder than her lipstick. "Your fence shocked me, Turner. You rigged it." I blinked innocently. "Shocked you? It's wood, Linda. Maybe static? Dry day and all." Pops chimed in, ambling out. "Could be a loose wire snagged on that old ladder. Gotta be careful." She wasn't buying it. "It was electric. You booby-trapped it." She called the HOA's rent-a-cop, Barry, who rolled up in a golf cart, lights flashing like he was busting a crime ring. Linda ranted about my attack. I played it cool. "Barry," she was spying again. "Maybe your ladder hit something. My fence is just wood." Then I dropped the bomb. "Actually, we did put up a squirrel deterrent for some roses we're planting. Low power, legal on my side. Warning signs are up C." I pointed to the tiny signs I'd slapped on after a shock. Maybe her ladder touched it. She wasn't leaning into my yard, was she? Barry squinted, nodded. "Sounds like an accident, Linda. Metal ladder, electric wire, careful." Linda's jaw dropped. "This is an outrage," she shrieked, but Barry just shrugged and drove off. She yanked her ladder away, muttering about lawsuits and revenge. For a week, it was bliss. No ladder, no Linda. I drank coffee in peace. Emily opened the blinds. But Pops warned me, she's not done. Wounded pride stings worse than that fence. Sure enough, a letter arrived, hand-delivered by a jittery board member, summoning me to an emergency HOA meeting. Linda's complaint, hazardous modifications, and get this, assault. I call Pops. She's saying I tried to kill her. He laughed. Let her dig her grave. Stick to the facts. She trespassed first. The meeting was a circus. The clubhouse was packed, neighbors I'd never met, all buzzing. Linda sat at the head, in a suit that screamed, I'm in charge, flanked by her yes-men, Clara and Ed. She opened with a speech, voice quaking with fake outrage. Jake Turner attacked me with a lethal electric trap while I was upholding our sacred bylaws. She claimed she nearly died, that my fence endangered kids and pets. The crowd gasped. I stood, calm as steel, and opened my binder. Let's talk facts. For weeks, Linda's been climbing a ladder to spy on my yard. Here are photos. I passed them around Linda's bob, peeking over my fence. Murmurs spread. Those notes she sent about my bushes. My chairs came from her illegal perch. That's harassment. I held up the rose catalog. To protect our new roses, we installed a legal, low-power animal deterrent. It's on my property with signs. Linda's ladder touched it while she was trespassing into my space. Not an assault, her choice. I showed the signs, the bylaws, even a lawyer's note saying her spying could be sued as harassment. The room shifted. Old Man Carter yelled, She's always snooping. Others chimed in, airing years of Linda's bullying. Clara looked nervous. Ed stopped nodding. A woman asked, Is it safe for my husband's pacemaker? I reassured her, it's like a static shock, tested for safety. The meeting spiraled. Neighbors piled on about Linda's fines, her rules. She banged her gavel a kitchen mallet, but it was over. The board shelved her complaint, promising a reviewed that never came. Linda's empire crumbled. Her ladder vanished. She shuffled around, deflated, her SUV parked properly for once. Neighbors rebelled, bright flowers, wind chimes, a bold red door. We dug into the HOA's books and found Linda's shady deals payments to her cousin's landscaping business, vague fees. At another meeting, we voted her out. She didn't show, just sent a typo-filled resignation. A new board, led by a timid but fair guy, took over. My yard was mine again. I planted those roses, and they bloomed, untouched by squirrels maybe scared off by the legend of Linda's zap. Pops came for a barbecue, toasting our win. Sometimes, Jake, a little shock fixes the whole system. That fence wasn't just wood, it was our line in the sand. The story spread, growing wilder with each telling. Some said Linda's hair sparked for days. Me, I just wanted my coffee in peace. So what do you think? Was our zap justice or too far? Should we have sued instead? Would you shock a nosy neighbor? Or try talking first? Drop a comment, hit that like button, and subscribe for more stories of pushing back against petty tyrants. Let's hear your craziest HOA tale. Showed you fight the power?